Hello, Nasdaq followers, and welcome to another episode of Nasdaq Spotlight. I'm your host, Leanne Alfaro, and you're joining us right here in Nasdaq at Times Square, where we just wrapped up the Innovate 46 Summit with the Swedish Chamber of Commerce, where we brought some of the leading Swedish entrepreneurs, in particular many Innovate companies here today, joining us, two of our own from the Nasdaq Nordic. We have joining us Philippe Chaban, CEO of iTech, and Jonas Wallmander, who's CEO of Azileo. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So start by telling us a little bit more about what a Innovate company is and what your company does in particular in that field.
Right, a Innovate company, in my view, is a company responding to the urgent needs of reducing the global impact and global environment impacts that humanity is loading onto the earth. We do that by using smart technology achievements, engineering capacity in all its dimensions to try to come up with smarter ways of doing things, smarter ways of generating energy, or more efficient ways of doing what we are doing. So I think that is what Innovate movement is all about, in my view.
Absolutely, and Jonas?
Yeah, I totally agree with here. And what we do is that we, as a company, we are using solar and wind to make it a baseload power with a 24-hour storage solution. So, and doing this very, very cost efficient. And that's sort of what we do as a Innovate company.
And let's talk a little bit more about that, about cost efficiency.
Yeah.
So not only do Innovate companies, not only are they good for the environment and green as they suggest, but they also often, if not always, tend to be more cost effective, so cheaper. How is this the way that it's perceived, do you feel, in Sweden? And how do you effectively help your customers spend less while getting more done?
Right, so in our case, it's all about keeping the ship hull so much cleaner than what it would be able to do without our technology. It's an ingredient technology which resists the fouling problem, the marine fouling problem, so much more efficient than other solutions offered today. The green impact of that is obviously reduce emissions to this enormous industry, being responsible for some 2.6% of global greenhouse gas emissions, and hence being a very important sector to improve if we're going to meet our global targets, cutting carbon emissions by 50% within the time frame of 2050, as an example. So integrating our technology gives that big advantage. The other advantage is that it's solving that problem, i.e. it's resisting marine fouling in a very smart way, repelling the organisms that are trying to settle on this ship hull. And it's biodegradable, so it has no negative impact in the environmental domain. So that's our way of addressing the sustainability aspects of shipping.
And what about for Azileo?
For Azileo, I mean, we can, for example, we can take US. We have cases here in the US where we can reduce the energy cost for a customer with 30%. Compared to the energy bill he pays today from like PG&E in California. So it's really, with solar and wind, and combining it with our technology, we can give a 24/7 solution for 30% lower costs in electricity.
So obviously what I'm hearing is both of your companies incorporate technology in different ways to make this possible. So looking at the future of cutting down on carbon emissions and again meeting those 2050 goals and also cutting down on costs, what role will technology play moving forward, and what are the ways that we're seeing expand in the Innovate space?
I mean, it's, the role of technology is the solution to the problem as I see it. Without technological solutions, I don't think that we ever will sort of fight this problem. We have to do these innovations. That's
right, and I guess there's two ways of trying to reach the target. Either we quit doing what we're doing, traveling, living, consuming, and everything else, and doing that quite abruptly, which will have quite an impact on our quality of life, I would say. The other way of thinking about this problem is, as Jonas says, it's implementing smart technologies to achieve those benefits needed to keep on going and doing what we are loving to do every day. So that's that part of it, right? And Energy savings goes hand in hand with financial savings, of course. So in our world, there's a potential $20 billion savings if the ship hulls were optimal all across the entire global fleet of merchant shipping. So obviously, that kind of benefits will fuel new investments of sustainability technologies and so on. So it goes hand in hand. It starts in one end and has to continue.
Right, absolutely. And I'm interested in knowing, how is this received then by your customers too? Your customers that come to you, are they looking to be greener, or are they just looking to cut down on cost?
I would say it's both. I mean, we are still in a quite early stage when it comes to business development together with the customers. So it's the first movers that we talk to now, and they are often quite technical, interested in new technology and so on. But of course, they also want to cut down on costs. So it's
Absolutely. And what we've heard earlier today and here at the Innovate 46 conference is that being green is becoming increasingly important to the new generation of companies, right? So having that combination of technology, cutting edge technology, also cutting down on costs while also being green is a trifecta, it sounds like to me. So what excites you the most about Innovate companies and Innovate technologies?
It's the fact that it's a necessity. It needs to happen. It needs also to be successful, or else we'll have a lot of other problems in this world. In the industry where I come from, the shipping industry, or the domain that we're working within, it's very important that all the goods that are shipped, which is then 80% of everything that we consume, is shipped on sea. That transportation is done as sustainable as ever possible, meaning emissions to air should be reduced to minimum, but also emissions to sea should be reduced to minimum. So using smarter technologies on the hull side, obviously, than in our case, to reduce the leakage of unwanted substances, or could also be the fact of reducing the use of natural resources that are today a big part of the solution, and then replacing that by our bio-repellent ingredient. Would be a dream scenario down the road, of course. First step is to make the whole industry so much more efficient when it comes to emissions to air.
For me, I mean, I've been working with renewable energy since 2004, and what I've seen is that you have to give the customer a business case. That's the most important, and it's important for the future to have sort of renewable energy and sustainability. But you will not get anywhere if you don't provide a really good business case and a business model that can sort of be seen as good for the customer. So that's you have to be there, else it's not worth it.
So we are looking forward to definitely keeping up with your progress, and so happy to have you as Nasdaq Nordic listed companies. Thank you so much, Philippe. Thank you so much, Jonas, for sharing your kind of contributions to the Innovate space, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you so much.
Nasdaq followers, please stay tuned for more coverage coming to you right here from the Nasdaq market site. Until then, we're signing off right here in Times Square.